We have a few Rams updates to get into on today's episode of the Rams Digest, maybe diving into a little bit of the controversial calls, if you will, from the officials, some Minnesota Vikings fans upset about things of that nature, and we're also going to discuss the other side of things, the memorable moments, the positive, huge plays that I want to shine some light on from Monday night's matchup versus the Minnesota Vikings, all on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron. If you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor and press the subscribe button, as 83.5% of you guys still are not subscribed to the channel. You're watching the videos but not subscribed. Press that subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. I do want to kind of apologize a little bit. I was a little bit maybe lower energy or a little quieter, if you will, in my last video, and it was because it was 1 o'clock in the morning when I recorded that video. I was trying to kind of keep it at a decent volume. But I'm here. I'm excited. I want to acknowledge that I was being a little bit more reserved in that video, and I'm a little bit more ready, I guess, for this video today to really emphasize how incredible that performance was from Los Angeles Rams. I mean, this is like starting to feel like maybe it is a Super Bowl team. Maybe this is a Super Bowl run team, right? This feels like there's some magic involved with this team on the defensive side of the ball. Now the offensive side of the ball is kind of getting back to their normal form. There is some magic here going on with the Rams, and we're hoping that can continue on into the next round versus the Philadelphia Eagles. But yeah, let's get into those memorable moments, right? A lot of controversies, a lot of positive moments. And we'll get into the positives first, starting with the offensive side of the ball. I do want to pull this first story up, as we got a story saying that Kyren Williams apparently revealed he brilliantly improvised his TD catch versus the Vikings. That was the first touchdown, if you guys remember, of the night. Kyren Williams was actually the one who had the play action call. Right? He was the faked player. It looked like it was going to be a run up the middle. Play action. He ends up being the receiver to catch the ball. And if you guys watch the Manning cast, or at this point have seen the Manning cast where Peyton Manning, Eli Manning are watching the game and commentating, if you will, they actually were both shocked, right? And these are two legendary quarterbacks who were both shocked that the guy who was in the play action was the one who received the touchdown. And the reason why is because, coming from their perspective, that's a difficult thing to do. To fake a pass to the running back, run out to your left, and then as a right-handed quarterback, go back across the middle of the field to Kyren Williams, the same guy you just faked it to. A little bit of a difficult play to make. And that's what Eli Manning, from Eli Manning and Peyton Manning's mouth, right? That's what they had to say, the two legendary quarterbacks. If you disagree, you could disagree with them. But the reason why I'm a little bit, I want to say I'm skeptical, I'm suspicious about this, and I'll go into detail about that right now, is Kurt Warner, he goes ahead and tweets, Kyren told us in an interview after the game that he wasn't supposed to do that. Just leaked out because it was open, and Matthew Stafford found him, question marks, right? Confused face, shrug emoji. Awesome play. No idea how it happened. Dan Orlovsky as well as somebody, again, former NFL player, NFL quarterback. 4 quarterbacks, right? Maybe you want to say Dan Orlovsky wasn't the best of quarterbacks, but 3 legendary quarterbacks, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, Kurt Warner, were acknowledging that this play was incredible. Again, Dan Orlovsky, former NFL quarterback himself, shocked that this play happened, shocked that Kyren Williams was the one that got the ball, wildly impressed with the play that Matthew Stafford made and the play that Kyren Williams made. Kurt Warner saying that Kyren is claiming that it was not scripted. Why would Kyren Williams lie? I'm assuming maybe they don't want to give their secrets. Maybe they don't want to say that this is something they have built into the playbook. Maybe that's why he would lie. But I'm suspicious. I'm not going to say he's lying. I'm skeptical about him improvising. And the reason why is specifically because of Matthew Stafford. And we'll pull this up here. I do want to pull this little screenshot up here. So here's a screenshot. Barstool Sports posting a clip of the touchdown from Matthew Stafford's, like we could see his eyes, right? You see here, the clip is at the 1 second mark. Say it's, from here to the next clip we're about to see is about half a second. Maybe you can say 0.8, 0.8 of a second, if you will, from here to the next clip I'm about to show you guys. But here's Matthew Stafford as Kyren Williams is leaking out. He's rolling to his left. He's looking toward the end zone. He actually points after this to somebody to direct them in traffic. But then within a split second, and maybe you can say he just saw Kyren Williams open up out of the corner of his eye, but in a split second, we'll just pull this up right here while we stay here. He immediately turns and within a split second is already firing that ball into Kyren Williams. No hesitation, no surprise that he's open. Not, oh my gosh, like why is he supposed to? He's not supposed to be there. Kind of reaction from Stafford. It's just here, looking left, darts over to his right, and immediately is ready to swing that ball into Kyren Williams. Almost like muscle memory to an extent, right? That's kind of what I'm feeling. Just so quick, and you can even see on the screenshot I got, the 1 second mark doesn't even change. I'm a little skeptical that this wasn't a designed play, but if it wasn't, incredible improvisation from Kyren Williams. Incredible for Matthew Stafford to recognize, right? To see, wait, I see a blue jersey there, turn and immediately fire that ball into Kyren Williams. Opposite, again, he's a right-handed quarterback going to his right, but as he's moving to his left to go back to the right, to the center of the field, even Peyton Manning mentioned it, you're not supposed to do that as a quarterback. You're not supposed to go to the opposite or to the center of the field when you're moving towards your left. It's just not what you're supposed to do. Yet Matthew Stafford and Kyren Williams connect on that play to make a touchdown. I'm just wanted to point out, incredible play, one of the highlights, memorable moments of the night. Shout out to Stafford and Kyren if it wasn't something that they planned or part of the game plan. But if it was a very, very smart play to kind of sneak a receiver open up the middle of the field. So I just want to give credit where credit is due, right? If Kyren Williams improvised, great. If the coach had this kind of wrinkle in the game plan, also great. And if you want to keep it a secret, right? Kyren improvised. Good for him. Let's keep that tucked so we can have that when we need it, right? Down the road, the rest of the playoffs. So just interesting stuff there. Moving on to the next screenshot we have here. I did want to pull this up, right? Another positive play. We're talking about Ahkello Witherspoon. Now, I know this is a little bit of a smaller screenshot. I do want to acknowledge two things at once. First, Next Gen Stats apparently is saying Jared Verse reached a top speed of 19.80 miles per hour, the fastest speed reached by a 260-pound plus ball carrier over the last 7 seasons since 2018. But if you look at this screenshot here, right, this is before Jared Verse actually picks the ball up. So I screenshotted the ball here because I wanted to show about the third and 7 mark, the decal, if you will, whatever you want to call it, on the field. You see T.J. Hockenson, Ahkello Witherspoon to the right about to strip sack Sam Darnold. He is almost improvising himself. This is the one where I do kind of believe that he was improvising. Let me pull these screenshots, the right ones. Oh, I might not have got the Ahkello. Okay, here's the Ahkello Witherspoon one. So I'll pull it up in this view. So you see there, Ahkello Witherspoon is clearly going after Sam Darnold. If you guys watch the play, and you could go back and go to Next Gen Stats tweet if you like. I think I retweeted it. If you want to go to my Twitter at Josh__G on X. Ahkello Witherspoon, he does hesitate but he initially reads the play, sees that T.J. Hockenson is kind of chip blocking the defensive end. So he goes, and once he sees that T.J. Hockenson makes contact with the end, he attacks, sprints after Sam Darnold. It's almost like he thought maybe T.J. Hockenson was going to stay and block, and once he decided that, he was going to go all in. The risky part here is, that's why I'm screenshotting this here, T.J. Hockenson is wide open. The linebacker that drops into coverage that goes more towards the center of the field, goes away from T.J. Hockenson. T.J. Hockenson is wide open. Ahkello Witherspoon, because he made this improvisation, I think, because he made this quick decision to attack Sam Darnold, he knew there wasn't going to be anyone blocking him, even chip blocking him, because T.J. Hockenson was either going to block for a second, then go out. He made the quick decision to go and strip sack Sam Darnold. What a huge play. Jared Verse can get the highlight for picking the ball up, running in for a touchdown, diving in, somersaulting into the end zone. But Ahkello Witherspoon, a huge play here. We're hoping he's okay. Obviously dealing with an injury himself, a thigh injury. I don't believe he returned to the game after he was injured. But a huge play from Ahkello Witherspoon. I just wanted to acknowledge his strip sack was incredible, and I believe it was, and we'll hear from it throughout the week, I'm sure, that it was an improvisation from him. I think Richard Sherman on his podcast actually pointed this out as well. He talked about how he thinks that it was a decision that Ahkello Witherspoon saw and maybe attacked right off the jump. I believe Ahkello Witherspoon played with Richard Sherman at some point in his career as well. So acknowledging two things at once. Jared Verse, shout out to you for being a beast and being fast at 260 plus. But shout out to Ahkello Witherspoon for reading the play, strip sacking Sam Darnold. Huge play in the game. The score was 10-3. We had some controversies happen beforehand, right? And yet they were able to move past those controversies and get the 17-3 lead. Incredible, huge play from Ahkello Witherspoon. We'll move on from that. I don't want to spend too much time on that. We have so many things to get into. Moving on to that, here's the next 260-pound tweet about Jared Verse as a little bit of controversy on this one. First of all, incredible. We have to admit, and at some point we're going to see it. There's going to be a Jared Verse Eagles, something about him flying in like an eagle as the Rams are about to play the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. There's going to be some kind of eagle meme going on here with Jared Verse with this image. I mean, let's pull this up full screen one more time. I mean, look at this. Jared Verse is flying through the air, right? And I remember when I saw this screenshot, and I saw the play live, I just didn't really realize it, I guess, at the time, as much as some people did. But Jared Verse, first of all, jumping and flying like this is almost comical, all right? Why is he doing this? And second of all, when I saw the screenshot at this view, I was curious. I was like, wait, I got to go back and watch this play because that is a late hit on the quarterback. If you're looking at just this image, and the ref is literally smack in the middle watching this play happen up close. And I did do a little bit of further investigating, and I want to pull this up here so you guys can see it. Here is Jared Verse flying through the air. There goes Jared Verse, the big splash. Shout out to Albert Breer for this video clip. Flying through the air. Look at the ref watching that. That's a late hit on the quarterback. And if you want to see where he took off from, we can pull this up here. Here's Jared Verse flying. Here's him taking off. Right? Darnold was kind of up, but he was down. Right? He was about to be down when Jared Verse takes off, and Jared Verse, there he goes, flies through the air. I mean, that is just pretty funny there. So, there was some controversy there. Some Minnesota Vikings fans were a little bit upset about this one. And, maybe valid. Maybe a little bit valid to be a little bit upset that play isn't really called. But ultimately, it's not called. And Jared Verse, again, we're going to get a meme out of it, I'm sure, about the Philadelphia Eagles somehow, some way. And then also Jared Verse, helping in, putting that pressure on. There was a sack there involved with Sam Darnold. So, incredible play nonetheless. One of the controversial calls that was not called by the official there. So, some people a little bit upset. The score was 27-9. What are we talking about here, right? But a couple controversial calls I want to acknowledge that some fans may be upset about on the Minnesota Vikings side of things. So we could pull up the next bit of controversy, if you will, as this next screenshot is the, you see the tweet here. I mean, talk about controversy. I'm sorry, but this is clearly intentional grounding. If they aren't going to call the fumble, Matthew Stafford got bailed out. Maybe he did, and this was actually a big play, right? Score was 10-3. I believe a Minnesota Vikings player picked it up and ran it back for a touchdown. Refs called it a touchdown. Ref called it a fumble. And then actually, after review, said it wasn't. Matthew Stafford not only didn't fumble, there was a receiver kind of in the area, as you can see out on the bottom right. You can't really see it here now, but someone was there, a running back was there in the area that Matthew Stafford flung the ball to. And it was a little bit controversial again. A little bit of controversy there as I try to pull the right screenshot up. Controversial, big play. It would have been 10-10 if that play stood as a fumble and a return for a touchdown. Yeah, what are you going to say? The score was still 27-9. So even if the game continued and they scored exactly kind of the same way it went, but we know how that goes, right? If they score that touchdown, the momentum changes, the energy from the Rams change, the way their mindset goes, it all changes. I agree. It was an iffy play call. We saw, again, on the Manning cast, Bill Belichick was actually acknowledging this too. There's no one going to help the defense. It's an offensive league. And they went with Matthew Stafford, was throwing the ball forward, at least trying to. It looked a little close, but nonetheless, that was a controversial call. I wanted to acknowledge it was iffy. Let's be real. It was a little iffy for sure. Moving on from that, let's see the next bit of screenshots we have. Matthew Stafford talking about the quarterback here, right? Actually, let me pull this little video clip up. Winter Soldier. That's my new nickname for Matthew Stafford. That's why I wanted to pull this little clip up here. Matthew Stafford, the Winter Soldier. Let's pull these stats up here. Matthew Stafford is 18-3 in December, January, and February games with the LA Rams. What is the clutch gene? This. And I agree. I agree with this tweet. I'm going to call him the Winter Soldier. I'm sure some other quarterback probably already has that nickname somewhere, but that's my nickname for Matthew Stafford. Hopefully that can stick somewhere. The Winter Soldier. When it comes down to those cold winter months, Matthew Stafford is prepared to win football games. You want to argue with, there's been people talking about, we only had one Super Bowl and all this. Look at the numbers for Matthew Stafford. He's doing what he can. 18-3 in the months of December, January, and February. What a beast. Our Winter Soldier, Matthew Stafford. And speaking of the Winter Soldier, let's hear from the Winter Soldier as Matthew Stafford does have a quote post-game here talking after the game with Scott Van Pelt at ESPN. He says, it starts without... I said out here. That was my mistyping of the quote, by the way. It starts with our head coach, obviously. Dialing everybody in, talks about, give some shout outs here and there in between. I did paraphrase him here as he says, continues with saying, organization did an unbelievable job. He was acknowledging what the organization did for them in terms of bringing their families out to Arizona, taking care of them that way. He says, it's unlike anything I've ever experienced in my tenure playing in the NFL. We felt really motivated to play for the people of this city. And he did acknowledge and thank the Arizona Cardinals for hosting them. And he went on to kind of thank everybody involved and really be appreciative as he did, again, acknowledge that this is a guy who's played in the NFL for a very long time, for the Detroit Lions, for the Rams now for a long time. And he's saying, this was one of the best things and crazy, unlike anything he's ever experienced in his NFL experience, right? Matthew Stafford said. And so shout out to Matthew Stafford for acknowledging and thanking everybody, but also, showing that this team is different, man. This team is different. The energy and motivation they're playing with, along with the outside motivation, again, off the field motivation of what's happening in Los Angeles, the Rams were ready to play. They're still going to have that motivation and energy moving forward. And if that defense is flying around the way they flew around against Minnesota, they're going to give Philadelphia some trouble when it comes down to their matchup versus the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly next weekend. Last but not least, I do want to leave us with a quick injury update. I looked up Ahkello Witherspoon. I looked up Bobby Brown, right? Some updates on the earlier video I posted today of talking about the concerns of some of these guys, right? And I did look them up all. I didn't really get too many updates from 15 plus hours ago, right? Anything sooner than that. Ahkello Witherspoon dealing with a thigh injury. Bobby Brown III dealing with a shoulder injury, right? So a little bit of injuries in that note. We'll see if those guys are going to be ready to go. The biggest injury update that we do have, though, to discuss is Tyler Higbee. He was actually hospitalized. So again, scary stuff there. He was hospitalized after chest injury, but the tight end expects to play versus the Eagles. That is very, very huge, a very positive, huge update for Tyler Higbee. The scary thing that I was talking about him being in stable condition is what Sean McVay mentioned after the game, which was definitely a scary note to have to add. He was coughing up blood, right? That's why they sent Tyler Higbee to the hospital. He was dealing with a chest injury. The chest injury led to him coughing up blood. Very, very concerning, obviously. And so he goes to the hospital. They say everything's A-okay. He's going to actually go back and travel back to LA with the team, I believe. And so that's all positive moving forward for now. Tyler Higbee himself is preparing mentally to play for the game. He's expecting to play in the game. Usually when we hear those words, it means the player's going to play, but I do want to emphasize he was coughing up blood, dealing with a chest injury. I'm just thinking about his health first, hoping Tyler Higbee can go ahead and be healthy for the Philadelphia Eagles matchup. Because look, I've been saying this over and over again. We're going to end the video shortly. I know it's getting long here, but I was saying this over and over again. Tyler Higbee coming back. It's a big pickup. It's big time. We're excited to have Tyler Higbee back. We're going to have Tyler Higbee. He's maybe not Travis Kelce, maybe not a type 5 tight end, maybe not going to go out there and put up crazy numbers, but he's going to be there. He's another weapon for Matthew Stafford, security blanket, whatever you want to call it. He's important. We need to have him. He looked like a top 5 tight end yesterday. He looked like a top 5 tight end in the NFL, just getting fed in the first half. He went out and was injured in about the second quarter, I believe, and didn't play the rest of the game. He had 5 catches for 58 yards. He was the leading receiver for Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. And so Tyler Higbee is big time. He showed how important he is to his team off the field, winning some awards internally inside the building. We talked about that here at the Rams Digest. And now he's there playing well, looking like a beast. Shout out to Tyler Higbee. We really, first of all, are super happy and proud of him looking good in that first part of the game. But secondly, we're really excited and hoping that he can be healthy enough to play versus the Philadelphia Eagles, as he'd be a huge weapon for Matthew Stafford in that game. And it's gonna be a battle. If you look at the teams left, right? Detroit Lions probably 1. Philadelphia Eagles, probably 2, if we're being honest, right? And so that's where it's at with the teams left in the NFC. The Rams are going to have a battle on their hands in Philadelphia. A tough place to play. It's going to be cold, and it's going to be a tough crowd for sure. The Rams, they respect all, but they fear none. That's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Josh Giron, and I am out.